Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to take a chance to build a deck live, kind of what my thoughts would be, what cards I'm looking for, and then we're going to build out like a full deck, a mid-range deck, and then a budget deck of the same idea. So if you didn't see my video yesterday, I was opening some packs, and I got some good steel cards, and that made me think maybe I want to play a steel deck, and specifically, steel looks like it has a lot of removal, and the deck I'm playing in tournaments right now is the Emerald Ruby deck, which also Ruby has quite a bit of removal. So I wanted to take a look to see what kind of steel Ruby deck we can make that focuses on limiting their creatures and then really getting good trades and hard removal in the deck. So the first step I take when I'm building a deck is I go to dreamborn.inc. It's a card repertoire where you can look up all the cards and you can also build a deck. So I've gone into deck builder here, and then let's select the two colors we want. We've got ruby and steel. So let's take a look through. So what cards might we want in the deck? And so typically what I do is I drop one card of each into something that I may want in the deck, and then I make cuts later. So a Boo 3/2, not really what I'm looking to do. I'm not so worried about this. If you looked at my most recent card review guides, I do value lore a lot. However, with this specific deck, really it's denying the opponent what they want to do. That's the idea behind it. So I'm not necessarily looking for the big lore creatures. I'm looking more for the creatures that are going to get valuable trades, and those that deal damage, I'm able to win that way. The war of attrition, so to speak. So I think the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw is reasonable if you're able to shift him in. You can gain lore, they can lose lore, and certainly you want to be challenging with this, so that's good. Same thing here, improvise. You can shift onto this Aladdin, he's reasonable. Captain Hook, one of the issues you'll see in red Ruby Steel here is that you don't have a lot of evasive creatures, so you're going to have to spend a lot of your removal if they have evasive creatures, and that can become an issue. Captain Hook, while not my favorite at 7 non-inkable casting cost, you can make their evasive creatures attack into you, which could be reasonable. Donald Duck, I actually think is it's a 2/3 for 2. You're gonna be able to trade with their 2/2s. You're gonna be able to trade into their 1/3s without losing your card, so that's a potential. I just don't think Elsa's good enough. Same with Gaston. Goofy could be okay if you're looking to get him to trade into their evasives, but I think we could do better for 5. LeFouo would allow us to attack twice, or quest and then attack. 2/2 for 2. I mean, that's okay. Maleficent is excellent. See, now this is what I'm talking about for 5. So we could either take Goofy for 5 or we could take Maui for 5. And Maui, while not being able to quest, is able to act as a removal spell the turn he comes down. So that's certainly reasonable. Again, Mickey's a very good card. It's just not something I want to be doing in this deck. Same with Moana. I mean, unless they have a Taka, 5 isn't what I want to be doing. Mulan's more for the go wide deck. Peter Pan, if he was inkable, I think I'd do it. Not Pongo. I like Pongo in my green-red deck. Not what I'm looking to do here, though. Same with Rapunzel. Scar. This Scar is too expensive for what he does. Sergeant Tibbs, Stitch, Taka. Not really what I want. Tigger, not really what I want. Be Prepared. So Be Prepared is an excellent card. But I don't think I'm going to have issues getting rid of their creatures. And so I don't think the game plan is to stall till 7. I think I want to deal with their threats before 7. And so whereas I think this is probably one of the best cards, build around cards, I don't think it's what we want to be doing. Dragonfire is excellent. And I can almost guarantee you're going to want 4 in the deck. Let's take a look. He's got a Sword, Tangle, Poisoned Apple, maybe. Sword of Truth, maybe. Those are both reasonable. We have an Aladdin at 2/1/2. So the question is, if we're playing an Aladdin, if we're playing the Heroic Outlaw, we want to shift 5. The Aladdin we have is at 3, so you don't do a whole lot, but I'd rather... yeah, I think I'd rather have the Aladdin we have if we're going to play an Aladdin. We do have Beast, who isn't fantastic. He is a big body, though. He is a big body, and he can get rid of items, and sometimes that's what you need. He might make the cut, to be honest. Captain Hook, Captain of the Jolly Roger. This is really good. This is recurring fire the cannons, which is excellent. Um, the only downside, he's non-inkable, but you're going to be able to get him out. You're going to get card advantage because you're getting back a removal spell. You're going to be able to trade in. I like it. Same with Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist. I really like that. It's a 3-2 for 1 on the challenge, and that's what you want to be doing, right? We're not looking to quest with him. We want to be challenging, so oftentimes we're going to be trading up. So this Captain Hook, I mean, he's 5 casting cost. He's 5/5 on the challenge. And then he can't be challenged except by bigger creatures. So you can really pick and choose who you want to take out. He is shift 3. You might be able to shift him onto your Captain Hook. So the idea is you play Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist on 1. On turn 3, you play Captain Hook, Thinking in a Happy Thought. You challenge in that turn. You take out whatever creature they have at 2/2. Your guy's left with 3 toughness. And they can't challenge in with any creatures because they don't have a 4-drop or higher at this point. He's reasonable. He might be able to make the cut. Let's take a look. Gantu, I think, is just too expensive. Goons isn't bad. As funny as it sounds. Sometimes you just need the 1-drops that are going to be able to trade. Hans I like. He's a reasonable body, 3/3. And then you're going to be able to, every time he quests, you're going to be able to ping. So this is where you're able to get some lore on the board. He's got 2 lore for questing. And then you're going to be able to pick off evasives, do 1 damage to them, etc. That's certainly a reasonable card. I don't think bodyguards are going to be what we want. We want creatures that are large and we're attacking into them. So I'm not too worried about defending our creatures here. Same with Kristoff, Kronk. Maui's just too expensive for what he does here. Mickey Mouse, I'm not really looking for a bodyguard. What else do we have here? So Simba. Simba's good. It's what we call a looter in Magic the Gathering, in that you're able to draw a card and then get rid of your worst card. So this certainly smooths out your draws. This makes your draws a lot nicer. Now, if you had a shiftable Simba, that'd be excellent. This is exactly what we want to be playing it on. Do I want a 1/2 in this deck, however? A card that probably isn't going to be able to trade for anything of theirs and doesn't actually net me a card because I'm discarding a card? I don't think so. Simba Return King for 7. I mean, that's quite expensive. He is 8 power. Although this is one way to deal with their evasive creatures. He might be able to make the cut. This is an excellent card. 3/5 with 2 lore, and if you're banishing their creatures, with Simba, you're gaining lore, so it's a 2 for 1. Maybe could potentially make it. This to cost seems very good. So essentially, what we want to be doing, as I've said 25,000 times already, and I sound like a broken record, we want to be challenging, right? So this is exactly what we want. A big creature that's inkable, so we're able to play him as ink if we need to. That comes out, sorry there, that comes out, challenges their creatures, gets their creatures off the board, and then we're gaining lore through doing it. I really like that. Tinkerbell is excellent. All right, 6-mana inkable, again, good. Has shift 4. You can deal 1 damage to every creature they have when you play it. That's excellent. Yeah, that's really good. It's really good. This is an excellent card. And then, yeah, whenever this creature banishes another creature in a challenge, you may do 2 damage to another character. So this is the perfect card, essentially, for the deck. This is exactly what our deck wants to be doing. And the question is do we want to play a subpar Tinkerbell in a 2/4 to be able to shift? What this does is this sets us up for a potential 2 for 1, right? We play a 3 casting cost Tinkerbell, then 1 turn later we shift onto it, and then they hard remove it and we lose 2. But getting this Tinkerbell out on turn 4 and pinging everything for 1, and it comes out with haste, and then you challenge and you get rid of one of their creatures, and then you ping another one of those creatures, I think that's probably too strong not to use. And so at least this Tinkerbell does have the diluting ability, like we said. We draw a card, discard a card. So it will help us find our answers that we need. It's a reasonable body. Yeah, I think if we're gonna play the probably the best card in our deck, we're certainly gonna want to be able to shift it. So that's reasonable. Whole New World isn't looking what we're. This isn't what we want to be doing. We don't want them to get a whole hand of creatures again, and we don't want to be paying ink to do that. Fire the cannons. I mean, that's going to be a 4 of 2 damage to every creature, or sorry, 2 damage to a creature. But then we have grab your sword. We're certainly going to want that 4 of. That's 2 damage to every creature. Same with smash, deal 3 damage to a chosen creature. That's very good. So that's kind of our removal suite, and I know we're going to want 4 there. Beast Mirror. We might want a card draw ability, thinking about it. And we'd be able to loot into it with Tinkerbell if we're getting 4 draws. I don't know how many we're going to want, but certainly this seems like the type of deck you want to empty your hand, constantly be putting pressure. We might want a 1 or 2 of this. What about Plasma Blaster? Let's take a look here. Tap and pay 2 to deal 1 damage. I'm just taking a look. I suspect we have too many cards that aren't inkable to take a Plasma Blaster here. And so this is how I'm going to take a look. So those are kind of the cards I'm going to consider for this deck. And then let's build it out. So we're going to go for no budgetary limits first. So taking a look first, I think this is a great card. 3-2 for 1 on the challenge. Let's put 4 of him in. The Goons, I just think we need 4 of them in general. Donald Duck is a reasonable body as well, and so as you can see here, we're getting just some reasonable bodies against these early trades. Aladdin, maybe. I do think Tinkerbell we want, and off that Tinkerbell, we're going to want the more powerful Tinkerbell. Okay, let's look. We're already up to 51. And this is where things become tricky. So Maleficent. We might have a hard time getting up to 9 in this deck. I think we take Maleficent out. I think we take Captain Hook out. We might have some problems with ink, so I don't want another non-inkable creature there. This Captain Hook, however, seems quite good. So let's pump him up. And based on that, we're gonna pump this up. This is just card advantage here. Let's take a look. So let's get rid of Aladdin. I don't think Aladdin's what we want to be doing. Maui, maybe. Poison Apple. I don't think Poison Apple is actually going to make the cut, or Sword of Truth. So let's get rid of those. Let's leave 1 Beast Mirror. So our removal suite is 4 Fire the Cannons, 4 Smashes, 4 Dragon Fires, 4 Grab Your Swords. With one of our Captain Hooks, we get Fire the Cannons back. So we have a lot of removal in that regard. That seems pretty good. Let's take a look at our curve here. Sorry about that. So we have too many 5 drops. Right, we need to get some more lower drops. I mean, same with inkable. We have 21 non-inkable, so let's see what cards we can get rid of that are 5 drops and non-inkable. Simba, I don't think we need Simba in here. The Captain Hook, we're going to have to keep. Or do we? Does this Captain Hook make the deck? We're not going to shift onto a 4 draw. I mean, this would solve our 5 drop issue and would solve our inkable issue. But yeah, perhaps we get rid of this Captain Hook. Let's take a look here. Beast. I think we probably want a suite of these. Big body, gains for lore, gets rid of items, and sometimes there's some good items you want to get rid of. Hans. He is inkable. That's good. Just not a fantastic body. But let's pump him up. Let's drop Maui. Let's pump up Taka. Taka is excellent. We don't need another 7 drop. I think we want Aladdin over another 7 drop. So let's pump up Aladdin. Let's get rid of Simba. So we got 4 copies of everything here. We're just short 3 cards because of the Beast Mirror. Let's take a look through. So first off, we fixed our curve. We've got a lot of 1 drops. We got a nice curve into 2-3, and then we do have some higher end cards, but hopefully with all our removal and everything we're doing, we're going to be able to get up to those cards. So that seems reasonable. Inkable, only 16 out of going to be 60 cards in our deck are non-inkable. So the majority of our cards are going to be inkable. So our drops are going to look like a Captain Hook early turn 1, going to be able to trade up. The other turn 1 play we have are Goons, that it's just going to be able to trade for their generic cards. Both of these are going to be able to play for ink, which is excellent. We have a Donald Duck on 2. Either, again, we're inking or getting a 2-3 body out to get some trades. So all 3 of these cards are going to be looking to trade early or just use as ink, right? So you don't feel bad if you just throw these down as ink at all. You don't feel like you're missing out on anything. You've got Tinkerbell, which serves 2 purposes here. First is it's going to be able to get us our answers we want, make sure we're hitting the ink, so we're getting up to our 5, 6, 7 drops. The other thing is it's going to be an excellent shift target for the big Tinkerbell, which is fantastic. We do have Captain Hook, which is just going to be card advantage. Ideally, you dump some of the fire the cannons early. You're getting them back through him, and you're just removing all their creatures. That looks pretty good. What do I think about Hans? His body's a little small for 4, but being able to ping some of their evasive creatures, like if they have a 3 toughness evasive creature, you hit fire the cannons for 2. At least you're able to hit this with 1. So I think it's probably keeps a spot. Beast is just a big body that can quest for a reasonable amount and get rid of their items. Taka's what we want to be doing, just attacking, getting lore. Tinkerbell is excellent. Aladdin is excellent. Let's take a look at what other Aladdins we have that we could potentially put in as a target here. We could fill 3 more cards. This is shift 5. So I mean, for all intents and purposes for us, both Aladdins are the same in terms of trading. They both have 2 power. They're both inkable. What do I care more about? Getting some lore on the field and getting a card out earlier, or them just losing 1 lore? I think I care more about getting ink cards on the field and doing early trades. So sorry about that. So taking a look here, I think this is what the deck's gonna look like, right? You got plenty of early drops. You've got 4, 8, 12, 15 drops that are 2 or less. Certainly our curve's looking much better. That are all inkable. You got your 3 drop that's going to be able to loot. That's fantastic. Like I said, Captain Hook is just card advantage. Hans is going to be able to ping off their evasive creatures or get that 1 extra damage for a trade you need. Beast is going to get rid of their items, and he's a reasonable body to begin with. Taka is a very big body and is doing exactly what we want. Tinkerbell is probably the best card in our deck. This is fantastic. In Aladdin, if you shift him out onto the existing Aladdin or just play him as 7, hopefully you shift him though. He attacks with Rush. You get rid of 1 of their creatures. You gain 2 lore. They lose 2 lore. I mean, that's a huge swing. We've got a ton of removal. And if we empty our hand, we got Beast Mirror. So I think this is where I'd start off. I think this would be my high-end deck. It's going to cost about $200, which isn't bad, especially if you buy a couple starter sets with Aladdin in it. You're going to get things a lot cheaper. But let's take a look. How could we get this in terms of budget? So Captain Hook, 19 cents, certainly budget. Who isn't budget in this deck? I think a $2 card would certainly be considered budget. So essentially we're looking at some big cards to say, let's save some money. One is Hans, who I don't think is necessary to keep in the deck if you're running a budget. Taka is on the higher side. Aladdin is on the higher side at 5. Obviously, though, Tinkerbell. So if I was going to make a mid-range deck, if I had like $100 to spend, what would I do? I'd probably get rid of the Tinkerbells. That's going to put me under 100. And with those Tinkerbell gone, I probably don't want the other Tinkerbells. So we've got 8 cards to make up. And we're going to be able to build a deck under 100. Let's take a look. Let's take a look through what we can put in. So we might want another high end because we got rid of Tinkerbell, who's a 6-drop. In that case, I might actually put in Simba. He's going to be an 8/6 on the attack, and he's going to be able to get rid of their evasive creatures. That's going to be excellent. So we can put in that Simba. That gives us a bit of the high end that we're looking for. And we probably want a mid-ranged card that can give us some kind of advantage. Even if one of our cards had evasive, that wouldn't be the worst. I'm going to actually put in some Pongos. An inkable evasive creature that's a 2/3 you're going to be able to trade. And so I think this would be a good mid-range deck, mid financial range deck where you're looking under 100. But I think we can make it cheaper and still playable. So let's take a look. So what don't we need here? Certainly we don't need Hans. Hans is not something we need in this deck. I think you cut 2 Aladdins. You cut 2 Takas. Grab your sword. And that certainly is expensive. We might be able to do... Let's get rid of grab your sword. Let's try and get a deck that's reasonable under $50. So I think we add in a couple blasters for some additional removal since we don't have grab your sword anymore. We can throw in a couple poisoned apples and a couple swords of truth. Again, a bigger removal suite. I think we can throw in some Lafuos for some early ink. Yeah, I like that. That certainly seems reasonable. And then we've lost some of our higher end. I don't really want to play Captain Hook. He still seems too expensive. 7 non-inkable. This is where it gets tough when you're trying to do a budget deck. I mean, certainly we probably, if we're playing a deck like this, we probably want to make sure we're getting to the cards we need. Our Taka, our Aladdins, finding the answers we need. And so actually, a Simba's not bad. Right, so what you'll see is we've made our curve much lower. In terms of inkable, we've only have 18 non-inkable, so we got 42 inkable cards. We have a lot of early pressure we can put on the board, get rid of their creatures. We still have a full removal suite here. The only removal we lost was the 2 damage to every creature, but we've gained some Plasma Blasters, we gained some Swords of Truth, we gained some Poisoned Apples. So our removal is still on par. We still have our big end that we can win the game with. We got Takas, we've got Aladdins, we've got Simbas, we've got Beasts to get rid of their items, and still a big body that's questing for 2. We got the Captain Hooks that allow us to recur our removal. And then we have a better chance to deal with some of their evasive creatures as well, right? We've got a Pongo in here. We've got a Lafuo, so some of our better cards, right? We can attack with Aladdin twice. Like Aladdin attacks that turn, we play Lafuo. He untaps, he attacks again. We're getting huge swings here. And we come in at just under $50. So there we have it, guys. We've been able to build a budget under $50, a mid-range under $100, and then a no hold budget full deck. I hope you like these decks. If obviously these aren't tinkered, these aren't perfect. I haven't play tested any of these yet, but this would be my approach to building decks at every level. I'd always start at the high end. What if I had an unlimited budget? What would I be looking to do? and then how can I alter that deck to keep things on pace. And so if you like this, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you really liked it, hit subscribe, and please leave a like button. Okay, see you guys later.